Ooh.
Guess what,
Ooh.
people? We're live.
Yes, we are live. Back again.
You said
So,
no music this week.
Is this thing
no
on?
music.
Is this thing on?
Acapella. This is acapella. You guys can hum your own Star Wars theme. All right.
Have Hitch play it on his guitar, you know. And he's gonna be doing our theme songs for the week now, guys. So
Yeah.
And apparently you can just do whatever you want with Star Wars now.
Basically, it's we're definitely going to dive into that. A lot of a mixed bag from some, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a different show for us. So before we dive into our season premiere of the Acolyte, welcome back to Carbonite Bounty BS again for you guys. Anybody new? But before we dive into our review of the first 2 episodes, let's let our guy DP let you guys know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com, people, your favorite website where you get all your favorite social media platforms. And Nerdcyclopedia, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and also on Instagram and TikTok, maybe. All right, for now. Make sure that you're listening to us on podcasts. We're on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Odyssey, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast, we're there. If you are watching us on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Also hit that notification button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. If you are watching us on Facebook, thank you as well. Make sure that you are subscribing, or not subscribing, but actually sharing our, feed and everything to all your friends and family. If you're watching us on Instagram as well, so thank you for watching us on there. And which reminds me, I got to turn the live on for that. So make sure that you are also sharing on that one and also liking our Instagram page as well. Shoot us an email too. We're at nerdcyclopedia.com where we get all your emails and give you that, or when you give us that feedback, we give you the feedback right back.
Well said. Well
I
said.
got all that.
Good job.
I think you got it all. Yeah, you covered it all.
Yeah.
Covered it all.
All
No
right.
links, but we're cool. No links, no screen pops, but we made it. We made it.
The internet is
Thank you.
satisfied with
Yeah,
your
the
with
inter-
your
the internet. Yeah, the
The
internet
AI
is
is
today.
the AI is satisfied so far.
with your performance so far.
Yeah. So yeah, DP is our resident DJ for the day. So he's actually he's the captain for the day. So
I will not do a great job, as great a job as our friendly neighborhood DJ, Steel City Hitch.
yeah.
Oh
Now,
man. So excuse the performance and everything.
that's okay. But
Uh-oh,
guys,
Hitch, we can't hear you, buddy.
Oh no, we can't hear you.
Hold on.
There we are.
There we
There
go.
you are.
There we go. Right there. Yeah.
Wait, maybe it was better the other way.
Way too high, guys. Just
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any political banter anyway for the next hour.
Wow. Shots are fired early, but no, guys. It's been a couple of weeks. We've got allowed everybody to get some housekeeping done, a lot done, and it's crazy. We got an hour and 30 minutes now, almost. It's some decent action. You would say a decent time for 2 episodes. It's crazy. Our live chat has been probably pretty quiet with everything. So I know DP had messaged saying he thought maybe I was sick or dead, but no. My review has actually been pretty. I've tried to keep it pretty subdued because I've came into the show with an open mind. We were talking before we got started here, kind of about this era of Star Wars, and this is the one time I might be the Ken, the positive guy, because how can you bitch about something that necessarily didn't really exist, and there's really no framework to be like, oh, this is the way it should be. I don't understand how these people are bashing the show. Maybe because they have a feeling towards the director, the executive producer, Leslie Headland, which I thought she did a phenomenal job in these first 2 episodes. And I will say this, from what I've noticed with the show so far, before we dive into it, in my initial reaction, it seems like they're starting to follow a framework and not letting these producers just take Star Wars and do your own depiction of it. Because she's designed and kind of done this, her twist to it, but it seems like they're following certain guidelines. So it's still within a parameter that it's not too far left or right like we've seen with maybe episodes 7, 8, and 9, or maybe we've seen when the directors are chopping up the Mandalorian. It seems like it when she given it, Filoni might have told her a set direction, maybe set parameters, and she's doing it with putting her twist to it. So I like the continuity of the show so far in the first 2 episodes.
So, question. So I get what you mean, T. Mitch. Okay, this is new. This is new content, but we already know. We already have an idea what Star Wars felt like in this era. We already have an idea. We already know about Jedi. We know about the Republic. We know about the Council. My feeling is this era should have been the height of Jedi supremacy. These Jedi were the best Jedi ever, and the Council was the strongest it was. What I see is not that. I mean, these Jedi are Keystone Cops. I mean, they're really not. They're not cutting it. They're not cutting it. They're letting themselves get deceived very easily, very easily. And it's
2
very
masters to get hacked down that fast is crazy.
It's disconcerting to me because I felt like this era should have been stronger, should have been a more impactful. Like we should have seen the Jedi just cracking planets in half. I mean, doing Sith level stuff.
Yeah. Well, but they alluded to that
I
early in the episode, though, Ken, before you get started, to interject in that. She alluded to the story why they weren't like that. This was like the super pacifist era. To like you're saying, they were like so not used to being in conflict that it's almost like their skills are diminished. Like they're not battle tested anymore because they're really in the Force, right? So
and that totally makes sense. And
so they alluded to that early on as far as why they kind of like the way they are.
And the story pulled me back in when I sort of got a little more of like the backstory with May, like why she's so angry. What did these Jedi do? What crime did they commit that they were covering up? Because obviously there's a big Alfred Hitchcock thing going on here. We don't know exactly who actually is good or evil here, because all of a sudden we have this Master Tarvin, who apparently he's the Mac Daddy of the Jedi. He's the one that was he's the strongest one of the 4, and he was so guilty. He was so guilty. He woke up from his meditation after 10 years, took a poison, gave himself absolution of this ultimate crime right here, right now, to save his soul. Boom, in a heartbeat. Something bad happened here, fellas. The Jedi are not the good beings that we thought they were. There's a lot of dark going on here. And I hope if this doesn't come out in the next, 6 episodes? What do we got total here? 8?
Yeah, 6 more.
Yeah.
If we don't see the dark side of the light side somehow, I'm going to be a little disappointed. So this has to pay off. That's going to be my check that I want to see cashed. I want to see.
Ken is out here. Ken's out here with the checkbook early.
You want to talk about cashing a check,
banking.
and I want to talk about cashing a check. I want to talk about you write the Wookiee Jedi check and you cash that check in this premiere.
I'll have to have you all watch the Star Wars Christmas special again, because I'll get to that, but that was trash at the end. They might as well have chopped the last 5 minutes of that out. Get rid of it.
Oh, wow.
Here's something that's interesting, because the Wookiee life scale is pretty long. I mean, Chewbacca's like 230 years old or something crazy like that. This is an older Wookiee, so this Wookiee's probably like 400 years old. You have these beings talking about meeting humans when they're tiny and they're in their 50s. The scale of the life of a Jedi seems to be long, and it's long by these alien time scales. And it's interesting because none of these people are around. None of them are around in the prequel era even. These aren't characters that we're seeing later. Like, we haven't seen Yoda yet. We know he's around doing something. So we imagine they'll probably throw that in there. But we don't know. So there's some forces hacking away at these high-powered Jedi, even now, even this far in advance of the Imperial conspiracy. So it's interesting to see that, you know, you're right, Ken. I don't think that we're supposed to think of this as the halcyon days of the Jedi. This is the Jedi that were overlooking things they shouldn't have been overlooking, that we're able to be fooled, that could be distracted when you threaten an innocent, you know, that lose track of the ball and not see the knife behind someone's back. There's a lot of metaphors like that are prevalent for the Jedi. And remember, if we're talking about 10,000 years of domination of the galaxy, the last 200 years is going to seem like the last little bit. It's the last tiny little sliver. So they should be in decline. One thing that I found very interesting, and I really like this show a lot, but I found it very interesting that there seemed to be a lot of Jedi everywhere. Like every planet had multiple Jedi. They're talking about this random out planet in the Outer Rim having like 5 Jedi on it, including at least one master.
In this era, there were Jedi ruled the galaxy. They were everywhere. They were on every street corner. They were the stormtroopers, apparently. Stormtroopers of the Republic. Yeah.
And they're seen as like, you're right. They're not really the rank and file. People don't trust them fully. No. You know, they think the Jedi have their own things going on. And I appreciated that.
The Jedi are pigs.
Yeah, they're willing to look the other way for a bribe or something like that. But I really like this because there's so many other flavors being mixed into Star Wars. I mean, you have so much from like Eastern martial arts tradition here, right, where all this fighting without lightsabers, which is very not Star Wars. You know, so much of the real great fights are lightsaber centric and about fencing choreography, and this was more kung fu. Right. I thought starting it out with a great kung fu fight with Carrie-Anne Moss is also a direct callback to the Matrix. I mean, it's just flashing, blaring, like you know, huge horns, like like Christopher Nolan, Hans Zimmer horns. Like it's obvious.
And how easily did she get taken out?
That was disgusting. I'll say that. Like, if her character is gone already and she died 5 minutes in, I was actually pretty pissed about that.
I mean, you got people taking lightsabers to the chest this year.
Yeah, that was so like stereotype. Like when she did that, I'm like, bro, come on. She has no force intuition because you had to see that, right? Intuition,
just a little bit like hammered. Like it wasn't as strong as it should have been. I mean, it should have been more. This thing should have been bigger. It should have been.
I think you're right. I think you're right, though. She couldn't bring herself to actually fight real hard against this person. That's what's insidious. That's why it's so powerful. Like they say, you send an acolyte to destroy the dream. That's what they're doing. They're sending what they think is their apprentice after them, and so they can't really fight with their full might. I mean, Master Torben, like what? He's just like, I'm out. Boom. Like if you've come to seek retribution from me, then you deserve it. Is what I got from that, right?
So but that's also like you're saying. That's like the old school Shaolin in Eastern, the Far East. That's discipline,
the meditation,
right?
the bumbling assistant sensei. That's like kind of a fat guy. Like that's all from those sorts of movies.
Yeah. And would it have been if you get discovered, if they find out what you're guilty of, then you seppuku, you just
we don't know about what the Jedi. I mean, maybe they send you on a suicide mission somewhere, they strand you, or you just go to that other galaxy they magically conjured up that contain all the hidden Jedi. I like that there was almost like a Blade Runner sort of feel to some of this. The prison ship, the droids running the prison ship felt very, of a piece. There's a lot of Star Trek-esque elements to this. The multiple different alien species that look like facial makeup, basically, but still, four-limbed. And I thought that there was a lot of really, like, I don't know, I'm like more cyborg-esque robots. Like I like how they showed the progression of R2 units as well. Like that's not really in vogue yet. And you have, this is where I thought Ken would really love this. This main character of this show has like a sonic screwdriver that can do whatever the heck she needs to do at that moment, whenever that she needs. Just like R2 does.
Yeah.
That's a throwback from what's that game? The Fallen Order. That's what Cameron Monaghan. I forget his thing. Yeah. But yeah, he has that.
Was that B.O.?
Yeah,
BO follows him everywhere.
BO. Yeah, it's BD. Yeah, that's what he asked. But yeah, That's like that drawback to those little like. What was that thing? The Disney movie they have that's like that.
Wally? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those type things.
That's with all the fat people in the future.
Yeah.
We have it too easy.
Yeah.
On a cruise forever. But that's what would happen. I mean, if you were on a cruise in the Caribbean forever, you would gain some weight. I feel like that's fair. And so I don't think it's really fair. They're not being fair to those guys.
Who do we like? What characters do we want to see win here? Like, what do we want to see? Like, I'm not completely convinced that May is even alive. Honestly,
that was honestly in most of the first episode, I was like, are they doing that thing where it's the same character? And I was like, that would be pretty lame for them to do it and have it be that obvious. But no, she really just has a twin sister. Okay. Yeah. It's like fair enough.
But Soul said he saw her die. That he was part of this crime. He was part of whatever.
Well, Soul said he saw her die, and then Osha blames May for the fire that killed the family. So there's something tied up in all that.
Something.
Yeah, they're referencing things that we have yet to see on screen and stuff. And that was one of the things I was thinking. I'm like, okay, so we're already like 100 years back from from like the Phantom Menace and all that stuff. For them to also reference things that haven't happened or that haven't already happened, on screen and everything, and to talk so much about it, I sort of found it a little strange. It sort of took me out a little bit, but for the most part, I mean, I was still in all the way and everything. I like the first episode was really super to me. I texted you guys last night and everything after I finished watching it. It was like really good. The second episode, it was okay, but it was still good enough to just keep me into it. I'm still trying to decide if I'm into the lead character, and her, her twin and everything. They're fine, but I don't see as much personality.
Right. So who do you like right now? Who's your hero? Like that's
so I mean that was speaking to what you were referring to. Who's the hero right here? So I'm already looking at the Jedi like like I was saying, like they're pigs, like they're cops. Nobody likes the cops. Right. I mean, some people like the cops and stuff, but nobody wants the cops all up in their business and everything. And this seems like that's what the Jedi is going on to do. They're getting up all into everybody's stuff, and everybody's like, I don't have anything to do with anything, officer, Mr. Officer, and stuff. Just leave me be. But and you're right, you guys are right. There are a lot of Jedi all around, so I'm curious to see the whole context and perspective of this is that there were a lot of Jedi, and now where we fast forward to, I guess, where we see is like the present or the past or whatever, a lot of Jedi is gone. So it actually frames it really great about all this Jedi that's here now. And then when we see the story develop on how this empire or, republic falls. So I'm very curious to see where everything goes on top of this, mystery that they're plugging right now.
Well, think about how many times they were talking about, like you said, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 16 years ago. They were talking about the past. They were talking about they're oriented in any directions towards the past. And that's interesting because they're already so, like you're saying, so far in the past. And we think about Star Wars time as the before Battle of Yavin, but these people have no idea any of that is ever going to happen. They can see is that they're at the very end of they're at the far end of a long train of force study, and that's the way they see this as perfected because they have this long track record that they can view, and they're not this doesn't feel like a story that's they've grown complacent by success, but this story doesn't feel like its impetus is to set up the Empire. It feels like they're showing you evil. They're showing you, the problems the Jedi are gonna take, but it's not like there's not someone in handcuffs going like in 100 years you'll see. We'll be like there's nothing like that going on.
Right.
It's kind of weird though. It's a weird setup because like you're talking about when you see this High Republic era though, you're right. It's kind of like the it's like the perfect, like the bad cop analogy. I mean, if you see the way the Jedi are acting, I mean, did you see the temple in Coruscant? It's like a Dubai, like it's in gold, like they're very gaudy. Even if you look at their wardrobes, right? A lot of them are dressed in like gold attire. They're not like battle hardened, like the Republic era Jedi that we see. They're wearing gold, Shaws in their outfit, and they're just dressed as
very bougie. Very
correct,
bougie.
yeah,
They're getting the budget.
Yeah.
correct. So
You know what I thought? The third time I watched these episodes, it made sense to me how Palpatine got in, and because it was easy, because they were absent-minded. They were basically pretty, like we said, they weren't bad. They weren't used to fighting. They weren't used to conflict, so they were a little bit lax. I could see Palpatine in the back going, "This will be mine one day. You watch. Look how easy it will be." And I think this is why he went in. He got in very easily and was able to build his galactic empire underneath the Jedi, and they didn't even see it happening. Neither did Yoda. So if Yoda's here, he's in the back corner somewhere.
He should be, but Hicks, don't you
whittling
think
a cane.
in the back of your mind, then, at this time frame, 100 years out, it would be safe to say that Plagueis is somewhere on the background, right?
I mean,
yeah, big time.
I'm guessing he's pulling the strings, right, at this point.
So we know Palpatine is like already a senator and already like, I don't know, 50 years old or whatever. So you backtrack that another 20 years, and you're talking about, I mean, maybe we're talking about one before Plagueis, like if Plagueis is the second, this is the first, or something like that. But it could be Plagueis. And remember, Plagueis is reputed to have this ability to make life happen. And how wild would that be if May or Osha were Plagueis, and that would be a left turn for sure, right? You wouldn't be expecting.
Or did Plagueis bring May back? Did Sol actually murder May in whatever happened there, whatever crime was committed, and Plagueis brought her back, gave her to his apprentice, which is now her master. And I'll tell you what, that 30 seconds of episode 1 was probably the best film in that entire episode to me, where we actually saw who is he? Sol asked, who is he? Still doesn't have an answer. Since when does a Jedi ask a question and not get an answer? Come on. So that I need to see that. I need to see who that is soon for me to
need to see who he is.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
he was like, who is he? I thought you already knew him.
Like, right. That's what the Keystone Cops reference came from, because that's what they did. Who's on first? I mean, all we have is the Jedi are Abbott and Costello, and they're doing the same routine through the whole thing.
But they're not they're just expecting some unruly prior apprentice. They're not expecting to run into, the nascent conspiracy that will topple the galactic order of the last 10 millennia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not looking for something.
They're not ready for that.
Yeah, they're trying to catch like the guy from Red Dragon. That's what they think's going on. They think it's like Hannibal Lecter out here. They're ready for that.
Palpatine? Could this guy be Palpatine? Could he be like Palpatine in his 20s?
It's possible, because the lifespan should be very long in this galaxy, but I don't think that we're meant to think that any of these people
wasn't
Palpatine.
Until 84 BBY. So I just read up on it. Darth Bane actually would be dead, so this is the era where Plagueis would be. So Darth Bane was before Plagueis, and this would be the Plagueis area.
Like, it wouldn't shock me if the story they're trying to tell us is that there's Palpatine's master's origin story here, and that's what they like. That wouldn't shock me if that was what the point of this is. But we don't know exactly what they're trying to do.
That'd be a good check to write there.
They wrote a lot of really great checks, and I thought cashed them. They showed us the crash. They had those guys follow through on that plan. I mean, I feel like they did a very good job of structuring everything to be very interesting. And again, they paid off the Wookiee. They said there's a Wookiee Jedi, and they said we're gonna go find the Wookiee Jedi, and then they showed it. They showed us the Wookiee Jedi.
They showed him, but he was actually the guy from the Jax Links
beef jerky commercial.
They were messing with Sasquatch.
Yeah, they were messing with Sasquatch, actually, and they just brought him into another studio for about 2 seconds.
We're going to take all his stuff. Whoa!
Yeah. He was a pretty skinny Wookiee for sure. He didn't look pretty big, but no, I'm interested to see that. Like I said, it's a different show. I really went in this. I tried to be like DP. I went in this with an open mind, no preconceived notions, and it's you know what it's definitely. I'll say the one gripe I had is it's not as dark as I expected it to be. So I guess this is going to be an acolyte, not necessarily a Sith necessarily. But the weird part is, I mean, obviously they were both Force sensitive twins, so. The one thing that kind of gets me, and we talk about this all the time, I mean, the power level thing, like if she just met this master, or she's a newer Sith apprentice, like for you to take down a master that easy, even if their eyes off of it, I'm sorry, that to me is like I said, 5 minutes into it and the Jedi Master dies from some apprentice. That doesn't work like, in any avenue. It just doesn't work because she simply could have stopped that one and blocked the one in front of her. So the fact that she literally killed her, I thought she would like be hurt and somebody come to save her, but her literally to die from a dagger like that I was just like.
So the Jedi are infallible. They have no. I mean, even if they do they have any sense of like weakness or whatever? Like,
they do, but
I understand what you're saying. But
that's
still,
like when we saw though. But that's like in Ahsoka. Remember, that would be like when she got beat up. Who was the character? I'm already forgetting this. The girl who had the lightsaber. What was Ahsoka's apprentice's name? I forget her already. The female. Sabine. Remember, that would be like Sabine when she fought the Wolf's whatever, his apprentice. I don't even remember the character's name.
Well, I mean, but we knew Sabine for so long and everything. It's like, okay, where all this come from?
But you should have stabbed in the chest with a lightsaber.
But that's how, but she wasn't trained.
So Ken, I think Ken really hit it on the head when he said that in Star Wars it's all relative. If the plot needs you to go, you go, and if the plot don't need you to go, you come back.
And this is what I think, T. Mitch. I think we've seen a lot of Carrie-Anne Moss in the commercials and stuff. It was a misdirection from the beginning. You know, it was meant to make us think, okay, that she was going to be in there like the whole series or the whole, just starring this stuff. She dies in the first 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It was a plot mechanism.
Do you remember when Scream came out and they were
that was a ruse, and she's going to come back? People always come back. Like
that's what I'm afraid of. I kind of actually hope now that she doesn't. Now that they did that, but I wanted to see more of Carrie-Anne Moss like throughout this whole thing. I thought that's what I was going to get.
I did too. More wire work and the flying.
Yeah.
I was waiting to see some of that.
Hey, they're setting the stage for there to be multiple flashback sequences. So because they're looking there. This is a mystery into what happened way before this, right? We have to unravel what happened 16 years ago in order to know, what these people, why these people are being targeted for this.
Right. So Indira is going to be back there in the flashbacks because at some point you're going to have the four. Well. Yord is one of them, right? Yord is one of the four, I'm guessing.
No, Yorn is like
Yorn is like
one of their Padawans, probably.
Yeah,
he's like late all over.
Yorn has just became a knight. Remember, that's what you just said. So he was in a Padawan.
So we don't know who the other two Jedi that she's sent. She's going to kill.
There's Osh. There's the Osh's master Saul. They killed two, and then the Wookiee. That's all four.
Oh, the Wookiee. Okay, so the Wookiee was there too.
And then Saul will be the last one that she's supposed to kill, which is the person who tried to save her. So I'm sure Saul will be the final boss fight will be Saul and her, or maybe sister v sister. But the one sister is like it's just one of those things, like you guys are saying. To me, like the show seems cool, but it's like all over the place. This is like a detective show, and then we have some dark side, and then like we have this story of like a Padawan who was like Ahsoka exiled from the Jedi. Is she gonna come back and like get a lightsaber and like the final fight be her versus her sister? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of all over the place. And to tell you something crazy, you think people are melting down now? When they show this lightsaber whip, bro, the people are going to go crazy. They're going to be so pissed that there's a lightsaber whip, which is a true weapon.
I see a little. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that in the commercials, but I mean, it looks decent. Really,
it's a real weapon though.
They had that lady Lumia.
Yeah, Lumia had, yeah, there was a real lightsaber whip back in the day, but it's a real weapon, so like I don't. But people will
It's
be
canon.
down and saying it's not Star Wars, and it it is what it is. Like I said,
It's supposed to be weird, man. If they dropped us off in like 1884 or something like that, everything would be really weird.
Exactly.
There'd be all sorts of weird anachronistic stuff, like trains. Everyone would be like, "Look at this high technology," and you'd be like, "It's a freaking train." Like, what are you talking about? It's like you know what I mean? And things would be odd. Like food would be different. The way things smelled, the way everything would be weird. And I like that they did that because it feels like, hey, there's some things that are familiar and there's some things that remind me of other stuff, but it doesn't feel like the same universe. It feels like an alternate take. It feels like they went into the multiverse and said, okay, this is where the Jedi had a bunch of cash and stuff was real good. And if they had a problem, they bribed their way out of it and everything would be A-okay as long as we keep things on the small council.
I'm a little disappointed with the lightsaber hilts too. The lightsaber hilts are kind of shitty. I'm not gonna lie, Ken. For the guys that collect them like us, bro, these are Spy Republic hilts. I was expecting better hilts.
They were pretty basic. They were pretty basic,
I was like,
right? They were like the red, like in Star Trek, the security guys, phasers. I mean, they were just like everybody had them. They were standard issue. Yeah. Here's your lightsaber. Go. Yeah, no. Go find someone to slash.
I'm agreeing with T. Mitch as far as the tone. I thought it was going to be a little bit more darker, but I mean, I got used to it as like the episode went on. Yeah. Is anybody being sort of taken out of it with these like traditional Star Wars wipes with like transition scenes and stuff? I know it's very Star Wars, but I don't know. It sort of takes me out with the emotion of the scene when you get like a wipe. Going into like the next shot or next,
almost like end of an act or something. Yeah, end of a chapter.
Yeah. It's like, all right, clear the.
I don't know that those bothered me that much. Our opening scroll, I would have liked that to have been an actual.
Well, I know you love it, Ken, because it actually feels really at home with everything that they're doing with like a lot of the lighter colors and like a lot of the, especially the music and everything is really Star Wars and stuff. And not like I was expecting this to be our favorite, is like Andor and stuff. But it was a little odd because a lot of the things were really good. Then all of a sudden you get this white, and it's like, oh, come on now, going right into like something else. But for the most part, the feel of it is still very Star Wars. And you guys saying like this is a different type of thing. To me, it felt it was a lot of akin to the early Star Wars stuff back from the late 70s, early 80s, and like what we got in like the Phantom Menace. So I think it was doing like a little callback to that.
Yeah, I mean, but this is something that Hitch always talked about. This is more like a different era, like, and that's the thing why I think it's triggering some people. I mean, this is like a detective show, right? There's a crime, so this is like and Leslie Headland really took a chance on this show because we've never seen the Jedi do this, right? There's a mystery, there's a crime here, and it seems like we're going backwards. What's that? There's a TV show that's been on a couple years ago where they were like doing crimes and they had to go back in time to kind of solve them. I don't know if it was like 48.
Criminal Minds. Criminal Minds
like did that. Maybe, yeah. But
here's the thing: it's a crime show, but the good guys committed the crime, which is.
But that's the thing. We don't know though. We don't really know what happened. So it's like a mystery, right? I mean, we know something happened, but
remember the problem with the Jedi in the prequel era is that they're not an army; they're the FBI. Right, they're investigators and punishers and determiners of fact, and you can rely on their testimony and their notes. Contemporaneous notes can be entered as evidence, right? Like that's what these guys are. And now we're seeing them. No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Hitch.
I'm just saying now we're actually seeing them performing the task of the investigation task and remanding you for punishment task and the judicial task, the task that they're designed to perform. So we were seeing the Jedi. Yeah.
You know what this is, though? As you say in every show, think about it. This is the Jedi literally being communists. They're literally the ruler of everything because look, they're judge, jury, and executioner. Because typically when they went to Coruscant, they would go to the they would go to the judicial system. They were taking them right back to the council building and and charging them. like where is the, you know what I mean? They're going to Coruscant. Where is the Galactic Empire to oversee this case, right? That would be
It's
the person
interesting
who
that
would
we're
look at
seeing
it.
the Republic almost, I like to think of this as like the Republican era in Rome. So we're seeing like the pre the Carthaginian Wars, the Punic Wars, right? Instead of the Caesar era or the full blown Commodus Gladiator era, where it's just like incredibly decadent and everything's nuts. We're not seeing that. We're seeing the old days, right, where things are a little bit more Spartan and wealth hadn't trickled up and accumulated in the top hands so much. There's more, there's more spread of wealth and power, right? It's not like you have power centers and we're not focused on boardrooms and Senate council. We're just not focused on that stuff. We're out with the people in the street where the action is. And that's where the Jedi are. The Jedi are in bars and hanging out, running. I don't know what the Jedi Temple does other than house, masters and stuff.
Yeah, guilty Jedi apparently.
Jedi that are ready for the sweet release of death, as soon as possible. So
at this point, are there no like political faction, no chancellors or no senators or anything like that in this era?
Well, the Jedi have enemies. They talk about that. The Jedi we have political enemies. We have to make sure that the things we do don't look bad. So now we're concerned about the appearance, not about the result. So it can't look like we had some Padawan go flying, go crazy and start murdering actual Jedi and become more powerful than us. Because then it makes people question, hey, how's that even possible? How could someone that has nowhere near the amount of experience and training that you have eclipse you in power? That's the thing that can't happen, is that you can't catch up to and then lap somebody that's been doing it longer than you that has the same basic potential. It's just not right. You can't do it. And you can. Right, that's what the Olympics are for. You can do that in certain facets in real life, and I think like Anakin Skywalker leapfrogged how many people because he had such a high, potentiality in the Force. So that's what I think is surprising, is you shouldn't be able to kill this master because it's not like they quit. They didn't quit doing this stuff. They're still in it, so you should never be able to out practice them. And if you did, and you have techniques that allowed you to do so, then their demise speaks to the power of that training you received.
She wasn't distracted. She was totally in that fight. She was absolutely in that fight, 100%.
Is that the point where, this Jedi Master goes down, so there's a bunch of different questions now, like, well, how did that happen? Like, like T. Mitch said, that should have never really happened like that. Are we going to get into the questioning of like, how did this even happen? With a full blown Jedi.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think that question should definitely come up. I mean,
it's like the Buster Douglas fight, at least, right? Like this one. This is. I mean, you find out that a Jedi got KO'd by some rando that just showed up with like $15. Said, "Here's 15."
Apparently, a goat too. A goat.
$15 at a goat in these days. It's the old days. It's the old country. So things are a little bit different. But that would show up on people's radar if when Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. It was a big, huge deal because no one thought it would ever happen. This is something that everybody's going to be talking about. The HoloNet is going to be nuts about this as soon as they find out. And if they find out that it was a Jedi on Jedi crime, they're probably trying to dig up dirt on the Jedi so that the nefarious people that want to take control of the Senate and run the Republic the way they want without the interference of the right faction, the faction that upholds the moral, fabric of the galaxy, then you got to discredit them and get rid of them. If you want to subvert the government to your own ends, you have to do that, or else they would stop you. And then, they're the baddest mofos around. That's who they are.
It happened twice. That scenario happened twice. 2 Jedi were taken out by a student, and almost without even, there was no thought. It was just it just happened.
The second one was a suicide.
That's crazy.
They're going to cover that up. They're going to cover that up. The Jedi aren't. The council's not going to let that get out that it was a suicide.
That's just, I don't know. It's crazy. I'd like
maybe
to see
that's when they started the rumor that Jedi disappear when they die.
Yeah.
Oh, they faded away. That's what happened. See you later.
It's crazy, like you said. I mean, the fact that she died that fast, like she didn't try to pull the knife out, like, and then a very interesting piece though, she said in this era that if a Jedi draws their lightsaber, they have to kill. I was like, really, it's almost like a Ronin type deal, and that really like threw me for a loop when she said if a Jedi pulls a lightsaber out, they're basically you're trained. It's like a cop drawing their gun, you know.
She said
They're
willing
trained
to,
kill.
not have to.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But was that a
That's
taunt?
Western too.
Was
Yeah.
that a taunt? Like that wasn't real fact, but she
But
was
if
just.
if that was, so you're saying she can mind fuck her that easy, then that she can't be a Jedi Master. That's crazy. If that literally like would draw her to not pull her weapon out, and then I mean that's hand to knife combat's pretty crazy, even from a Jedi Master, like because she's just literally just deflecting her wrists. So like either she underestimated her, which would be still be crazy from the Master. These aren't. If it was a knight, I get it, right? We talk about this power levels. Masters are masters for a reason. Like a Padawan's not going to take down a master just like that, and that's like an easy like mind trick. That's something they would. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I mean, Master Soul doesn't seem to have a lot of guilt about what happened because he took Osha, right? Like that, I feel like that's why he was so easily able to control May and to just like move exactly out of the way of what she was trying to do every single, just like a Jedi ought to be able to do. And I think he's
competent. Yeah,
not conflicted. That's the thing that I thought was interesting is that if you are conflicted and you don't want to actually hurt somebody when you're fighting them and they want to hurt you, I mean, it can make a big difference. That motivation that you like knowing exactly what you're trying to do rather than having to think about it. That can be a big difference in a fight like that. And that's how Buster Douglas can win. Because Mike's thinking, oh, how am I going to, and Buster's just throw, and oh, shit.
Yeah, all it comes down to just simple punch, bam, get the right angle, bam, you're down, So all that thinking, Michael's trying to do, nope.
still makes it kind of hard to believe. It makes you question a lot of things because that's not the character background that I'm even every time I watch it, I'm always concerned that Obi-Wan got taken out so easily by Vader. I mean, especially now with all the backstory we know, and Obi-Wan just basically put his blade up in the air and Darth cut him down. I mean, that's not the way you want to see.
But he didn't kill him. Remember that was
a suicide. Also,
at that point.
It was a suicide. So now the Jedi are just like, oh, things are getting bad.
Yeah. That was a sacrifice in order to spur on Luke Skywalker. That would be, and it's kind of crazy, right? Because at that point, when he did that kind of thing and he said something to Luke, like that did everything that you're not supposed to do to a Jedi. Why? Because it caused sorrow, it caused anger, it caused hate, right? For all these things, for this thing. So I don't like it was kind of almost like reverse psychology and why Obi-Wan did a sacrifice to spur Luke on, because that essentially would create that dark side, right? It's part of him, which maybe made him have the balance, right? Maybe he didn't have enough anger at this point, so maybe that was a sacrifice to be. I don't know.
I think it made it so Vader could never like really seduce Luke. Because Luke watched him kill him. I mean, that's what he took away from Vader. Vader couldn't be like, I'm your dad and I'm great. And it's like Luke's always gonna be like,
you killed Uncle Ben.
My bud. You killed my
he was teaching me how to use the Force, you idiot.
You killed Uncle Ben.
He gave me your lightsaber.
So did Luke Skywalker save the galaxy?
Ah, geez, guys, I'm not.
Did he save?
That's a political question at this point. At this point, it comes down to which side of the aisle you're on.
Did the galaxy really need saved? I mean, was it in jeopardy?
That's another question.
I'll tell you right now, as a Palpatinian, a good Palpatinian, I'll tell you that Palpatine coming back is a good thing somehow. If he were to somehow return, it would be a wonderful thing.
Palpatine coming back was the best thing that ever happened. We need Palpatine back.
There would absolutely be Palpatinian loyalists the whole time be screaming about how great it was under the Empire. We saw that in the Resistance cartoon, that those people were around way later, like 40 years later. So you can imagine as soon as someone on the New Republic Council farts, they're just like, bring Palpatine back, bring him back. He gave us a bunch of money and courted our loyalty as if it mattered.
I'm gonna get a hat printed that says make the galaxy great again. I'm gonna get those printed.
There you go. Yeah.
Make the
I was thinking, like with Luke Skywalker so-called saving the galaxy, a lot of the stories surrounding make what he did just a moot point. It's like, come on now.
There was even an extra Death Star. It didn't even involve all the Death Stars. There was an extra one.
And they had a couple extra ones. I think there's still Death Stars out there just waiting.
They would have been like, in reality, they were like, how far back did this set us? 3 years. That's it. As long as we keep this secret for 3 years, we are golden.
Right.
Oh boy.
This show. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say the show for the most part is still good. I'm into it. Everything that's been going on as far as all the, like you said, the Jedi with their clean, they got clean robes and stuff. It's not dark yet or anything like that. We got so many of them around and everything, and it's all happy and good. They're in a complacency type mode right now. So as the series goes on, and hopefully it's more than just a season and everything, we just end up seeing where it all just where we see a slow turn. So it's not going to be like this is where you point to where it happens. It's just going to be that slow, decay.
First they cut the budget, then they start offshoring some of the stuff the Jedi do. They don't do anymore. Oh, you don't need as many Jedi. We can't afford as many Jedi. So now there's not. Makes it a lot easier and more possible for the Sith to show up. You got to start chiseling way out the side. I mean, you got to start way out.
But were they really complacent? I mean, I think they were just maybe not.
Well, apparently they didn't see the Sith coming, right? They didn't see the dark side even.
Like, you would think
or even try to look for that.
You would think the death of every single living Jedi would cause some ripples in the Force that would go in every direction in all 4 dimensions. Right? Like, that should be a pretty big deal.
When those masters die, when Yoda felt somebody die, he would feel any Jedi. He would feel that. And the way these masters are falling, they don't even feel it. Especially when the guy's in the same building as you, you would be like, oh shit, something happened. They don't even know the dude's dying or he's in trouble, which is super weird to me. But I don't know. Maybe they just weren't.
Well, hold up. He did know. I mean, did he know that he was look toward the camera and everything? Yeah, he didn't know that he still wasn't alive, but
he felt him when he died, but they didn't feel any. But they didn't feel conflict and stress because there wasn't any. They didn't fight. He just went, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah,
just like that guy from the Yugoslavian dude.
Right.
Oh yeah,
that's a cool show.
Yeah, he was an interesting character. I like Quinnem was his name. May's counterpart, whatever you want to.
That is an interesting character, and I'm glad you brought him up. That's one of those characters where it's like, okay, so you're hooked into the Sith apparatus, or what? If May is hooked into the Sith apparatus, you are hooked in as much.
Not really. He's not Force sensitive. He's just like a guy.
You don't know if he's Force sensitive. If he's dealing with this master, he's somebody. I think he's going to do something pretty crazy towards the end of the show.
He's going to do something really cool.
Because he's really mysterious. Because she doesn't really know him. She just thinks him as her little kind of
drug dealer.
Basically
he's a drug dealer.
Fixer, Q from James Bond.
Right, exactly. So he's the kind of thing. But keep in mind, and we talk about this all the time, we have 6 left to go. It's just, I hate always bringing it up and being kind of pessimistic, but there's so much thought. Is there a second season? There is a lot to really talk about on this show, and we only have 6 episodes to go. Because there's this badass Jedi Master at the end of this, or this Sith Master. We're come on, we have to have a grand fight, and we can't see this guy. I mean, they show the trailers of this forest fight with him or whatever. So you know what I mean? Come on, man. I'm really liking this because it's different. So, it's a different tone. Obviously, it's the Acolyte. Maybe I was expecting this to be I don't know, the Sith. So maybe this is somebody who's not necessarily, or they're leading towards, not necessarily a Sith, but an anti-Jedi, or I mean, I don't know.
You want it darker? A dude was so sad that he didn't say a word to anybody for 10 years, and then killed himself as soon as he woke up. I mean, that's pretty dark. They talked about burning children to death. That's pretty dark.
Right. Well, yeah, her sister burned herself. I'm talking about dark as far as like Sith. I thought this was going to be more Sith driven because we got the Tales from the Empire, which I thought were going to be more Sith stories. Like,
it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
No.
So I mean, it can start out this way and then turn, subvert our tropiness and everything. I know they had a fresh set of Padawans there that are
they're ripe to get sliced and diced.
Anakin.
Oh yeah. Anakin would have been just happy, boy.
They're ready to go.
Darth Vader's already got them lined up.
Yeah, Anakin's
open their robes up and
new crop of children just ready to. It's getting to be fall time.
I'll say that on a serious note, this young Padawan, this with them, there's no way she's battle competent. I'm just saying that off the bat.
Oh, Jackie, the alien.
Yeah. She is not ready.
They give the ones that are in big trouble to the really powerful masters, though. So she's probably going to be fine because you can't put someone that's going to get themselves killed with someone that can't stop them. That's just malpractice.
And then, hey, one real quick thing. So why does what's the guy, the other Jedi guy, not Saul, but what's his name? Yord. So why does he have a Temple Guard lightsaber? That kind of pissed me off, bro. You don't get yellow. That's Temple Guard only. That's like yellow's like a super, super, super specific lightsaber. But
look, that dude specifically, and I love that they're bringing in so many other genres. Like I said, with the Middle Eastern martial arts, the different types of sci-fi they're bringing in. Even the Expanse got a little call out with those magnetic boots. Like this was very, very calibrated to have sci-fi Easter eggs in a lot of big ways. And Yorn is like a knight of the round table, chivalrous paladin, like to the core, will only do what he thinks is right, and will follow every single rule. He's a little rule follower, this guy.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be the first one out in the big fight. I have a feeling he's going to go first. He's going to be a dramatic death of some sort. I see that.
It's like Sir Galahad. He's just so pure. But he's also, it took him a long time to pass the trials for some reason. So, he's got to have some sort of glaring Jedi weakness, either situational blindness or, he can't.
Not very competent.
Because the other Padawan, Jackie, I don't know actually how they pronounce it, but it's Jacki.
Yeah.
I think there's a kinship between the two of them. She's going to be in peril. He's going to go save her, and that's going to be the end of him.
He's getting impaled. Like it's already set up. He looks like he's getting impaled through the stomach.
His name might as well be Noble Sacrifice.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
I mean, if you're in this and like you have to do a shirtless scene just because it's filler, you're going to die. You're absolutely going to die.
Hey, Eye Candy has a long legacy in Star Wars. We all saw Return of the Jedi, so we don't have to say anything more than that.
No,
seeing it flip the other way. Turnabout's fair play, my man. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And Charlie Barnett was willing to put the hours in. Let's be frank. And congratulations to him.
But yeah, guys. I mean, everybody overall, I think we've enjoyed the first two. Excited for this to keep going. Like I said, I'm really optimistic about the show. I mean, I just think out of anything we've watched in a long time, I'm just optimistic because it's something different. It's doing a little bit like we talked about, maybe more detective stuff, and it seems like they're tying a lot of the elements we talked about that we wanted to see in them. But I just think that this is following at least a structure. And like I said, this isn't like Leslie Headland took Star Wars and just ran off and did something she said. It still seems like there were things that maybe she sat down with them and they said, it has to go A, B, C. It has to go down this road. So you can veer off of it a little bit, but this is the main road we need you to stay on. And she's trying to doing her own little twist on it, but it's still within the storyline. So I can appreciate that. Kind of her
still Star Wars.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's not.
It definitely feels like it feels like a pass that could be the pass for all the different like eras and Star Wars and things that we've seen. Like there's a little bit of all of them kind of mixed up.
It would be
in this.
It would be very, very great if whatever future stuff they do, like in the movies and everything, that they could reference stuff back in this show. If they could just little small callbacks and just sort of acknowledge everything as like, a whole, because this does open up a lot, for the future movies and everything, and that, that they can just call back to.
Yeah. But even like we talked about, like, when we saw The Mandalorian and they were giving a show to Rick McCallum or Carl Weathers and these different, and they were allowing people to do it. It kind of got scattered because everybody was doing their own thing. But it seems like maybe it's from fan pressure, maybe it's the feedback. But I think now they're understanding that if they're going to do something, allow other people to have their take on it, that there's going to be a centralized direction we're going to go, and you can't really veer off to kind of keep it. You know what I mean? So it kind of falls, because The Mandalorian, when they had different producers, was all over the place. They were all pretty cool, but they were very so unique and so different that it pulled us different directions to where this is going some way. So maybe when we see this, Rey series or episode 10 or whatever we're going to do, and then we go back to that Prime Jedi or whatever it is, the origins of the Force, maybe they have this direction now that they're going to go one way and they're going to keep it the continuity. So we see this, like we're saying, it's going to stay Star Wars and it's not going to veer off like it's done in the past, and even with some of the live TV stuff we've seen. But I'm digging it so far, and I'm really excited.
All I can say is that episode 3 better be thick. I mean, it better be good. It better be full of.
Ken, I think you're acting like me today. I don't know what you had to drink tonight, but you're being very. This isn't typically like.
I was. You know how excited I was. I thought I was going to go fly to California so I could watch it before all you guys.
You could have watched it. You could have watched
it at the same time everywhere, man.
Yeah, he said. They showed it yesterday at Cinemark. You could have watched it Monday.
Really?
At 7. Yeah, I got invited to it. You could have watched it Monday at 7. Wow. For free too. It was free tickets. So they did the premiere episode 1 and 2 at Cinemark.
I drove past the Cinemark.
I wish I would have known that. I would have probably wouldn't have seen it.
They showed it Monday at 7. Free tickets. Yeah.
Oh well.
It's episode 310 is 42 minutes, so you got 42 minutes.
I wanted it to be. I want this to be really good. I like all the new stories. I just need episode 3 to be good. Now we introduce all the characters. We have the basic foundation of this where we think things are going. Now I want to see it start to go in a direction.
You're being very critical. I like this.
I don't like anybody. I don't like any of these characters yet. And if episode 3 ends and I'm still I'll be a little disappointed.
I think Osha's likable. I think she's supposed to be nice.
Yeah. But also on the show, though, Ken, you got to think about it, though. Think about it this is the one time that's being the devil's advocate that we're not doing all this wasting time and developing these characters, right? So we didn't get an episode of Saul's backstory or Osha's full backstory. So she's actually, and like I said, this is maybe feedback that they're getting, that we're not wasting all this time and doing all this this prelude to the story, right? We're not doing a prelude to the novel. We're kind of
and you're right, because they're not wasting time, and we don't need everybody's individual backstory because everybody's in the backstory. We already know all these people are already connected somewhere in the past. We just need to see what that is, because at that point we're going to know what everybody's investment is in this and why they're acting like they are now. We're going to understand that, and that's going to help drive the story. So I don't need to see an individual episode like a filler on Osha. I don't need to see, but when I see that flashback, I'm going to see everybody's story, everybody's interacting, whatever it is, and that's going to push it forward.
I agree, man.
I hope.
Yeah, more than likely.
Put the reel in the trash can and burn it, because
Wow, Ken, this is me and you definitely switched places today. We must have done a fusion switch or something, because this definitely isn't like you. But hey,
wow. I mean, where's the real Ken?
Yeah, this isn't can out of can. This is like a different. This is imposter. You never like this, but
Oh, wow.
I'm
cool,
just,
but
I'm
no,
just, I'm just watching. I'm just watching it and just trying to react honestly about it.
hey, make sure you keep this energy moving forward. We're just going to say that, Ken, because
Yeah,
you've been
okay.
very, very, very complimentary of certain things.
Andor, Rogue
Very
One.
complimentary.
You do compliment Rogue One frequently.
Yeah.
That's a frequent
No, I
compliment
even
target.
like Kenobi. I mean, I thought that was. I can't wait to see a second season of Kenobi.
Hopefully it's better. But yeah, guys. Definitely enjoyed this. Definitely enjoyed being back with everybody. Like I said, we had a couple weeks off to get everybody to get some housekeeping done. Obviously, summer's starting, so families are getting out, vacations are going, but we still love to give you guys content and still keep you guys interacting with us as always. So, as DP said, please, if you're watching us live, smash a like on the video, comment on our pages, interact with us in any way you can because we appreciate the feedback, right? Itch, you want to send us home today since you're no longer DJing?
I don't what oh yeah. Sorry guys, I'm just so used to that job. All right, as we say here, this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. Peace out, people. And then we go boom.